Folks, I've got with me a mysterious man who's Canadian and a doctor, and he's passionate about blues to the point that he actually does performances, participates in shows, and he has two singles out on Spotify. Fibbing on Me is one of them, and the other one is Come to My Rescue. And this is the reason why I invited him to do this interview. So, Dr. Ben Chan, I
Yes.
presume.
Yep, that's me.
So, let me ask you this. Before you decided to go into blues, what actually led you to becoming a performer?
Well, music has been part of my life right from childhood. I played classical piano. I played violin when in my youth. When I was in university, I picked up the guitar, started playing the bass, played in garage bands in university, and that has music has always gone hand in hand with all the other things that I've done in my life, including pursuing a medical career. And this is just something that I've wanted to do almost my entire life. I started writing songs again when I was in university. About my first song was written almost 34 years ago, actually. Now that I think about it, and then I wrote many more over the years, and I always thought, I'd like to do something with this, publish it or record it or pitch it, and of course life gets busy, but now finally, after waiting for so long, I'm thrilled that finally I have a chance to be able to share my music with the world and with listeners.
So, give us the timeline. So, you first started to study your current career, or hopefully your current career in medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Did you specialize in anything specific?
I was in I worked as in family practice or general practice.
Okay.
So and early in my career, after I finished all of my studies, I started working in small towns, and that's what a lot of uh, recent graduates do to get their feet wet and so to speak. And I loved it. I fell in love with rural Canada, and that has ended up being a real passion for me. So I am a bit of an anomaly. I live in Toronto, but I practice almost exclusively in rural towns. The Society of Rural Physicians of Canada gave me they hand out certificates to people who have been working at this for years, and I've had a chance to travel across the country with this career and learn all about the amazing things that our country has to offer, all the hidden gems, and that's influenced my life experience, and it's very much influenced my music as well.
Okay. So, uh, when did you actually compose the two songs the singles that we have on Spotify?
Come to My Rescue was written about 30 years ago, over 30 years ago,
Okay.
and a lot of my music in that era was built out of the youthful angst that many of us have.
Okay.
And we're trying to figure out what are we going to do with our lives, and we're looking for partners, and I can't find a partner, and so it was that kind of youthful misery that prompted that, and
Okay.
and it's great stuff. It's great fodder for music. I mean, I can look back and laugh at that, but that was what brought that song about, Come to My Rescue. And it may seem like a dark song because it sounds like somebody who's in a lot of despair. But if you listen to it and you think about the song, I mean, it's a song that also at the end has some hope. And our families, our societies have been through a lot in the last 4 years with the pandemic, and the pandemic, was a time where, hey, like everybody else, I spent a lot of time at home. And when I spent a lot of time at home, that means spending a lot of time with my 10 guitars. So, so I rediscovered my music, and I reimagined that song. I played around, I changed it up quite a bit, so that it is a song that has a more universal appeal to anybody who may be facing isolation, despair, uh, uh, difficulty finding hope in whatever situation they have. I think if 100 people have 100 different interpretations of that song, then that'll make me very happy.
Okay. Now that's the first song. What about the second song, No Fibbing on Me? I'm assuming that this is the first thing that came to mind when I actually listened to it. It was actually fun, but then I went, wait, he's a doctor, so he's probably, it might have to do with his patients lying to him and not telling him the truth.
So this was a fun song. This is one of my newer songs. Again, at around the time of COVID, I started writing again,
Okay.
and so it's been a very exciting time. I mean, it's one of the few good things that came out of that miserable period of COVID. And I was working as a doctor throughout the pandemic. I was working in emergency departments,
Okay.
and uh, and one evening I had an older patient who came in with atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular heartbeat, where the heart beats very fast, and patients can feel dizzy, can feel if it's very severe, it can make their heart feel weak, and it was a complicated case, and I was up quite late with this particular patient, and then my shift, I drove home, and I thought I got to write a song about this. And so this song, you listen to it, and it sounds like some nasty, lying, cheating lover that's making your life miserable, and you want to get rid of him. But if you listen carefully, the song is actually about atrial fibrillation.
Now, this is only two songs on Spotify, but I'm assuming by the way that you're talking that it's actually going to be all fully recorded and released at one point.
Yes, absolutely. I have another 7 songs on the go, and I'll be releasing some more singles, and hopefully by the end of next year, it'll be a full album out there.
Oh my God, I'm happy for this because the fact that you do this is a, how can I say, it's a punch up of blues power when it comes to it. And the fact that you're a doctor and find the time to write and play is amazing, because right now I'm going to say to the folks listening to this that you're going to be in the Northeast Region Folk Alliance 2024 on November 24th.
Yep.
Dr. Ben live at the Red House Eatery in Hanover on November 29th, and an afternoon of music and storytelling with Dr. Ben on December 16th in Bruce County, Canada. You're busy. So, apart from the medical career and your blues, as a human being, do you even have time for pastimes or hobbies?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that my family's been uh, incredibly supportive of this journey that I've wanted to do. My family's central uh, to my life,
Mhm.
and you know, when my children were younger, getting them through school, helping them out, making sure they had lots of different activities, music, sports, and and other curriculars. They had a full life as children. That was a big part of the focus of my life and my wife Julia's, and those were wonderful years. I didn't have as much time for music throughout those years, although we often had music in the household just for fun. As both my sons are musical as well.
Okay.
And they've continued to be incredibly supportive of me in this journey. And now that both of my sons are off at university, this is another reason why it's become a great opportunity for me to pursue what's been a lifelong dream.
Okay. But for you as pastimes, do you do anything else? Do you do cooking? Do you do cycling? Do you hike? Do you do anything other than being a doctor and playing around with your blues? By the sound of it, I think that the blues is pretty much your pastime for the moment.
Oh well, I pursued many other things in my past life. Lately I'm a passionate gardener and a big supporter of native species. So I have a garden with about 85 native Ontario species, including a almost complete collection of Canada's official provincial territorial wildflowers,
Oh, nice.
including marsh blue violet from New Brunswick.
So
And
you're to be passionate to have that many species is how can it's almost a second job.
but it's so therapeutic to be able to walk out in the morning and enjoy my coffee and sit on my little bench and literally smell the roses. So it's a great way to start the day.
For me, it's unfortunate. It's as soon as I start having to weed the flowers, that's it. I'm
Yeah.
done. So as the time goes by, we'll see probably one or two more of your singles, and then eventually we'll be waiting eagerly for the drop of the album. So the only other question, there's just so many things. When you started your career, did you actually were you central in Toronto and just went out to rural communities, or did you start off in a rural community?
I started in I've always been I've mostly been based in Toronto.
Okay.
And just to make it a little more complicated, I mean, I call being a musician career number 5. So, and the problem is I don't really, change careers. I just keep collecting them. But
Okay.
I've always been, I've been a traveling physician, pretty much continuous in the last 30 plus years.
Okay.
I've spent time as an academic, as a data scientist, I'm still on faculty at the University of Toronto. I teach a course on healthcare management. That was my area of expertise when I went to graduate school. And I also worked for a number of years as a healthcare executive in the healthcare system.
Okay.
For about 9 years in different leadership positions. And I've also now career number 4 has been on global health. I do a lot of work overseas to help countries improve how they run their healthcare systems.
Wow.
But what do I love the most? The music.
The music. Well, it's the fun thing about you being a doctor and you playing the blues means that you've got probably a way to bridge any racial gaps when you're treating certain patients that are not endemic to your area or that are brand new from backgrounds due to immigration or due to them coming in under visa for studies or anything else. And the fact that you teach means that you've earned your chops in regards to talking to people about your passion or passions, gardening and the blues. That's it. You're an amazing man. That's the best comment I can say about you as a doctor and as a musician. It's fun to see that you've got time on your hands to be able to manage it and not collapse under strain or under stress. You're actually, um, how can I put it? Well adapted.
Oh, it's just a facade.
It's just a facade.
In actual
Underneath,
fact,
I die,
uh,
but
in actual fact, I mean, we're all human beings. We process a lot of different. I mean, I've seen a lot of difficult things in my time and experienced that. And working in leadership positions, that's really tough work. And but a few things you need to have outlets for that. You need to have fun when you're going through difficult things. And maybe the thing I appreciate the most about my medical career, which very much influences my musical career, is that a big part of being a doctor is not just a technical thing of sewing people up or fixing a broken bone, but sitting down and listening and trying to understand what people's story is and being able to empathize with that and that's one of the core skills of being a doctor, and having that kind of awareness in those situations when you interact with people is something that has carried over very much into my songwriting. I just to give a little sneak preview. I do have a song. One of my songs that will be coming out is my experiences of doing house calls and seeing people in their homes and I've also had the opportunity to work with people who've had addiction issues, and some of my music will in the future will talk about some of the things that I felt as I was acting as a caregiver in those types of situations. So a lot of emotions and difficult thoughts to process, but that makes for I think that makes for very interesting and good music, and hopefully something that others can relate to.
well, I can sincerely say that they will. When it comes to blues, a lot of it is easily communicated, but only the truly few that have blues in their soul are the ones that actually shine brighter than anything else that would um, typically darken our lives. So it actually allows us to soothe our soul when we're in difficult times or when we're upended due to something that happens. So it's the same with dance. Dance for me was something that I actually used to actually go out there and be involved with the community. And the blues songs are the ones that I typically danced to when it came to it, if I had the opportunity. So
Okay.
yeah, no, I appreciate the fact that you actually have everything that you need underneath based on previous skills that you built up, allowing you to go straight into blues and present it and share a part of your life. I'd say a facet of your life is up there on stage, true and honest, and what do they call it? Where you're open to the world, vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Make yourself human. So basically, that's the fun part of it. I'm happy that your family is actually supporting you, and that's a grand tool when it comes to blues. Because if you're a touring musician or a touring doctor, that is difficult in and of itself, and having people behind you that understand that you're doing it because you're passionate about it, and you still come home and participate in your family life. I'm amazed and I'm floored by the fact that you were capable of doing that for your family. Now, the last question I have is kind of bizarre. Uh, what's your favorite food dish?
My favorite food dish. Um, it's a lamb dish from Central Asia called shashlik, which is it would be what we would call here shish kebab, but yeah, it can be made from different meats. But my favorite is lamb. It's marinated. It's smoked over an open fire, and I've traveled a lot through Central Asia and done work in that region, in that part that we call the stands. And I tell I joke with my friends, I would move there. I would move there just so I could eat shashlik for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you can get a wonderful meal at an affordable price there. So that would be my favorite.
Okay, well, that answers the question quite astutely. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, as busy as it can be. I hope that your evening is relaxing.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure chatting with you.
Okay, well, the hope our paths actually get to cross one of these days.
Great, terrific.
Okay, thank you so much to Dr. Ben.
Great.
Have a nice one.
Have a good evening.
That was Dr. Ben Chan, folks, doctor extraordinaire. He's decided to actually give us some very fine blues. He has two singles currently on Spotify, one called Come to My Rescue and the other one called Fibbing on Me. So take a gander, and I hope that you enjoyed this interview.